Right, so on the Warhammer community page, they've got a Metawatch video that's been released yesterday, and they've basically explained how the new Pariah Nexus deck is going to work. So this is the new GT. This is going to be taking over the Leviathan GT deck, which means the mission rules are going to be different, the secondaries are going to be different. We don't know everything as of yet, but they have given away quite a few bits of information. So we're going to go through some of that now and how it affects Necrons. So the first thing they mention in this video is how action secondaries are going to work. There's going to be some restrictions in place now, which weren't there in the Leviathan deck. A lot of these restrictions are going to harm most factions. They are definitely going to harm Necrons, so let's get into them. So action secondaries, what are action secondaries? It's a secondary like Cleanse, Deploy Teleport Homer, Investigate Signal. I believe there's the 3. There might be another one I'm missing there, I'm not sure. But it's a secondary card where you've got to give up your shooting and charge moves, and instead you can do an action, such as cleansing and an objective. Now, interestingly, 2 out of 3 of these secondaries can be chosen as a fixed secondary mission. And annoyingly, I've been recently using fixed playing Cleanse with Deploy Homers. So now that that's been changed, my list is going to have to drastically change. But yeah, we'll have to talk about that in a minute. So let's start with the first restriction for these action secondaries. The first restriction is 0 OC units cannot do actions anymore. That sucks. We of course really do rely on Canoptic Scarab Swarms. They've got no OC. They were previously doing things like Cleanse, maybe Deploy Homers if they get far enough, or they would do it in the centre area, of course, but they can't be doing it anymore. There is a way to get them to still do it, I believe. It hasn't been confirmed, but the Catacomb Command Barge can increase OC by 1 to 1, in fact, with the Scarabs. So I can't be sure on that because they've not confirmed it, but in theory, if they've got OC 1 because of the Command Barge, then they can do that Cleanse or whatever it is, the action. So that's the first restriction. The second restriction is units that used to be able to advance with the assault keyword in their weapons were still eligible to be able to do an action. That's no longer the case. So previously we had the Necron Immortals with Tesla Carbines. You were moving them, advancing them, and then still doing Deploy Homers, for example. Now you can't do it. It's not a thing anymore. That's also going to interact with your Tomb Blades with the Tesla weapons. They're quite quick anyway. They can normally get to where they want to go. They've got the Scout move as well on top of that, and they're moving rapid. It won't harm the Tomb Blades as much. In fact, if anything, the Tomb Blades may be better because it's one of our very quick units that we've still got that can still do actions at speed. But yeah, Immortals I think are a big one with their Tesla Carbines. And you've also got the Protocol of Sunstorm from the Awakened Dynasty. That you should be able to put Assault, well, you still can. You can still use it, of course. You just can't do the action. You can put Assault on all your weapons. So maybe it was your Necron Warriors advancing up the battlefield with their Gorse Reapers and then doing an action. No longer the case. You can't do it. The third restriction was units that were doing an action in engagement range with pistols. No longer can do it. We were looking very heavily at our Canoptic Wraiths. I mean, Hexmark Destroyers could do it as well. There may be a few other units with pistols, but mainly it was the Canoptic Wraiths because of their durability, especially with the Technomancer involved with the Feel No Pain save. What I was doing in my current lists, I was taking 3 units of Wraiths, getting into the No Man's Land objectives, and I was obviously picking Cleanse. And they were just cleansing. Whether they were in a fight or not, it didn't matter. They got pistols, they were cleansing. All game, cleanse, cleanse, cleanse. It's not the case anymore, we can't do it, which absolutely sucks for Canoptic Wraiths in particular. That was one of their really good points of having them. As I said, Hexmark Destroyers are not going to be able to do it. Maybe they were doing Investigate Signal and they got charged beforehand and you pulled that card, Investigate Signal. They won't be able to do it if they're within engagement range anymore. That one's a little bit more rare than the Canoptic Wraiths doing Cleanse in the No Man's Land. Maybe with this new restriction, it will sort of push us towards taking Necron vehicles more, because they've got the big guns never tire. They're still eligible to shoot. They're not using pistols. So vehicles such as, I'm thinking out loud here, Triarch Stalkers, Annihilation Barges, they kind of suck. But something along those lines, cheap vehicles that have a 4+ invulnerable save that can get to the No Man's Land objectives and maybe still do Cleanse. Optionally. The next one is units can't be battle shocked. I think that was already the case, right? Units couldn't do cleanse if they were battle shocked, so I don't know if that's new or not. I don't think I was playing that anyway. Battle shock units have 0 OC, so it kind of relates to one of the previous entries. The next one is a bit of a buff, but not for us, unfortunately, but it's something to look out for. I need to mention it in case you go up against Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights. Titanic characters can shoot and still do actions. Again, cleanse, deploy homers, and so on. So you've got your Imperial Knights Titanic units, you're going up against them, they're going to put all their payload into you, they're going to shoot everything while still actioning. Previously they couldn't do both. I think it is fair because a 400 plus point model doing cleanse wasn't really ideal for that person. Whereas something like, previously we were having Canoptic Scarabs, 40 point unit just doing cleanse. Wasn't quite a fair trade, was it? So it's going to help those factions, and you've got to be aware of it if you do play against them. So that's the restrictions for action secondaries. We're now going to move on to battle line units. There's a massive push in this season, in this new card deck, for battle line units and the benefits you're going to gain by taking them. So a lot of the mission rules now are going to relate to your battle line units. Some of them, we've already been shown a couple of them in an image. It was raise the banners, I think it was, and rapid escalation. So if you've got battle line units, you're going to get some benefits and bonuses. But in the video, they actually... Can you hear that bird? What is that? Anyway, get distracted. In the video, they gave away a few more where you can do, in particular mission, you can do advancing and still do an action with battle line units, or you can do... Or you can do actions while within engagement range with battle line units. That's not with or without pistols, you can do that. So your Necron Immortals, your Necron Warriors, that's the only two options we've got that are battle line. Maybe they're going to be a bit more selectable. Immortals were already good, right? They were already good. Warriors were a little bit overpriced. I still quite liked Warriors because they're quite unique for the faction. You can't get anything in a unit of 20. So it's effectively like a Horde kind of style unit. So if you want to play that style, that's the only option we had. I am slightly worried because there's going to be a points change again that's going to align with this new deck. And I've got a bad feeling battle line units are going to go up. And Warriors are already overpriced. They're already overpriced. If you compare the amount of wounds you get and the toughness compared to like Intercessors, and then the price cost, points cost for them, it's not... I think they need to be sort of like around 8 points per model. But with this new battle line thing, they may go up again. So we've got to look out for that one. But Immortals, yeah, they were already good. If they go up further, that's going to suck for us. But have we been strengthened? Have we been weakened? I think it's a bit of both. The Scarabs obviously aren't as useful. The Canoptic Wraiths aren't as useful. Immortals have lost a little bit of use. And possibly Tomb Blades. But other factions have been hit so much harder. You look at Tyranids, for example. Gargoyles with the assault weapons. You had Termagants that had pistols, for example. You had the Rippers. You had the Biovores that were throwing out spore mines. So Tyranids have been hit hard. Although they've got a lot of battle line units. I think all 4 of those, apart from the Biovore, are battle line. So it may sort of balance off. But a lot of other factions have been hit a lot harder. Some of them not so much. So we're going to have to see, we're going to have to wait and see how this interacts with our win rates. And hopefully, in fact, in the near future, I'm going to be doing a video that showcases our win rates and all our stats on GT. So look out for that one. And yeah, let's wait for the new GT pack to arrive.